This is video 10 of the Blender basic course for Blender 2.80, and this time I'm talking about lighting. Lighting is a very important part in doing any Blender work, especially if you want to do anything other than 3D printing, where lighting doesn't make any difference whatsoever. Most of the time, of course, you'll be making scenes such as this, where we have a basic floor and the walls, a couple of cupboards and a table straight from IKEA, and then I have a Venetian blind in here, which I can, whoa, wow, what was that? Which I can use to turn on and off this Venetian blind. If I say R, all the others will turn as well. So I'll show you the effect of that in just a moment. But when you start any scene, you have a light. I deleted the light from here so that I can show you what the scene looks like if you don't have any light. It's rather boring, so let's add a simple light by Shift A and a point. Now I have a point lamp with a 10-watt bulb, which of course won't make much of a difference, but as soon as you turn it up to something more substantial, you can see the effect of the light. I'll turn it up to 1000. Now the specularity means the reflection of the lamp on any surface. As you can see, you can turn it down and up. And the radius means how defined your lamp light is going to be. All of these you need to set so that they are suitable for your own scene. It's also very normal that you have a couple of these, so you can Shift D and place it somewhere else, and Shift D and place it somewhere like there, and then turn them down so that you can have like a master light and then some secondary lights here around somewhere in the room to give you some highlights and some nice shadows in your layout and in your set. So this is how it's going to look, and if I now press F12, this being Eevee, the render engine Eevee, this is rather fast, and you can see that the lighting looks semi-nice. The problem here is that, or not the problem, but the point here is that you do not see the lamps themselves. So if you have a lamp with a lamp shade and whatever, you need to create that, give it thickness. If it's just one face, you will still, it will shine through. But if you have thickness to it, it will not shine through. And yeah, and you can see that the shadows are like semi-nice already. But if you go to the other render engine, which is Cycles, you will see, even in this pointillistic version, you will see that the lights and the shadows are even more consistent with real life, and that's because the Cycles render engine is a biased ray tracer, so it actually can calculate individual light rays, and that's why it takes so long to do that. I won't be doing that for much longer, so I'll just go back to Eevee. And while I'm here, I will delete the other two lamps. Just so that we have one of them left. And then I will delete even this one and add a different type of lamp. I will explain the sun and the spot in a moment, but the area lamp is like an area of light. So I'll turn that up to 1000 watts as well. And you can set the shape to be something different. So you can get it looking very different from what we had with the point lights. Oh, by the way, color. While you can do this, unless you are creating a disco, this is not, again, not generally a good idea. It's better to keep your lamp color as close to white as possible and just adjust its like degree of grayness if you want. But again, here you have the specularity value, which you can adjust, and the shape can also be a disk or an ellipse, whatever you want to have, or it can be any shape, basically. So this is slightly more powerful or slightly more adaptable than a point lamp, but still basically it's a point light. Now, if I add a spotlight, again with 1000 watts, you can see that it is really a spotlight, and you can adjust the size of the spot, and you can adjust the edge of the cone. If you were going to create something that had a lampshade on it, let's add a cone really quick, and then lose the, you can see it's kind of glowing through. I will just lose the face from here, only face, and scale it down a little. Oh, you can see how it is actually interacting with the light there. So if you were going to render this view, it will look better than without the lampshade, because it's more credible with the lampshade. And of course you would need some extra stuff here to make it look natural. So that is how you operate with your lamp. I'll just lose the cone and size this up and down. Okay, now this is useful many times, but sometimes you need light that comes from the outside, and generally you need a sun lamp in those times. So I'll lose this lamp here now, and I will show you where my sun lamp is. It's here. Now a sun lamp has a unique property. All of the light rays are parallel. They all come from a point, and they all travel, parallel, like two roads, or the lanes of a road. So, and at this point is assumed to be an indefinite amount of distance away from us. So that makes all the light rays parallel. And to show you the action on this, I'll turn up the strength of this. This one doesn't have watts, it has a strength. I'll take it down a little and rotate it on the Y, like so. And if we now go back to the light and we turn on, or we grab a quick render of this, you can see how the light is just as it is in real life. You have the outline of the window here, and you have the shades from the Venetian blinds. But just for the sake of argument, let's lose the sunlight and have a spotlight in the exact same place, and it has been rotated, it has been turned up, and it has to have 50,000 watts to show. And if I now show you the difference between these two, this is the spotlight and this is the sunlight. You can see it if I do both. Now the sunlight looks like it is actually the sun where the light is coming from, but if you have a big spotlight, it looks more like there's a police helicopter hovering outside your window. And of course that's very nice if that's the effect that you're looking for, but more often than not, it's not going to be what you're looking for. This actually has both of the lights on, as you can see. Here's the sun and here is the spotlight. So you need to decide which lamp you want to have in any given point. And then the last thing you can actually have in lighting, I'll turn these off again, spotlight back to 0. You can have any object, like here I have a long cube. I'll have to lock my camera to the view. Okay, and I'll hide the spotlight. There I have a lamp. It is it's a long cube, and it has material set as emission, and its strength can be turned up to 3. And it doesn't look nice in EV because EV doesn't do emission materials nicely. But as soon as you go into cycles, you will see how you have a nice natural lighting effect, as if you had a kitchen, and under the kitchen cupboards you had like a cube, like a fluorescent tube or some LEDs or something. With this you can actually make it rather fast, and or make it look really nice when you go into cycles, which at the end of the day is going to be your render engine of choice, because it makes the shadows so much better. So you would probably, in a situation like this, you would still have a point lamp here, and you would have the point lamp at maybe 500 watts, so that you have some light up here and you have some light down here, and the combination of the lamps is going to be one big factor in deciding how natural your view, or how natural the scene is going to look when you do the render. So let me turn that down a little, back to 300 watts, for example, and then I'll turn up the cycles light a little more. You have to see that it doesn't have a lamp tab here, because it's not a lamp, it is a cube that happens to have emission material to it. Okay, and I'll just turn down the lamp just a little more, back to 150 watts. And then I will hit F12 to get the render, and I will pause the recording. Okay, the rendering is almost finished, and already you can see how nice the shadows and the lights are when you have cycles as your rendering engine, and a lamp, and then an emission object like the cube under the cupboards. This should illustrate to you how flexible the lighting system in Blender is, and how you can set it up any which way you like, but you always have to experiment a little with the render engines to find out what suits your scene the best. I tend to work with Eevee and then have a quick check in cycles, just to show myself how it's going to look, and then I do the render. Usually I do the renders on a different machine, one that has a proper graphics card. Especially if you have an NVIDIA graphics card, you can turn on the GPU rendering, and it is blazing fast compared to this. This is just a basic business laptop, and it takes ages to do a single frame like this. So think about doing animations with this. It would not be a very good idea. So I'll pause this and go back to the actual scene, so you can figure out how to do your lighting in your future work. Thanks for watching.